And welcome to Beck's Bug Out Survivor. As you can see today, I have my hammock cocoon. Brilliant bit of insulation, good to about 58 degrees F, that's 14 C, which is a nice warm night. How are we going to get it through, say, late spring, early fall? We can add to it. Show you some options to add to this that are going to be hopefully lightweight and compact, and it's all in my pack here. The first bit of insulation to add to this cocoon system, let's see what I have. This is a self-inflating pad, it's 3/4 length. I'm after the army version, I've had a couple of them before, the BCBs, because they're a bit lighter. This is a bit heavier. This is by Multimat, and I forget how many grams this is, somewhere around, I think 680. Bear that in mind. Remember that for me, 680 grams. Yours might be lighter, yours might be heavier, but the reason we have one of these is because there is only one bit of insulation here underneath your bum. One bit of sleeping bag, in other words. And we all know the thicker your sleeping bag, the lower the temperatures you can get down to. So think of it as a bit of extra thickness. You're definitely going to need one of them, unless you have the means to winterize this, which will be yet another video. So, one sleeping pad. What about the top half? Let's reach into my pack and have a look what else we have. This is a British Army Jungle sleeping bag. It's compact, as you can see, and lightweight, but you will need to team it up or marry it up with something like that, a pad, and that. So 1 kilo on that, and about, what did I say that was? 680, so that's 1.6, nearly 1.7. Nearly 1.7. But you're going to need them. Let's see if we can do things a little lighter. What I have here, Army Wooby. It's a blanket. There is no underneath to it, like a sleeping bag. You don't need the underneath to it if you're on a pad. I wouldn't even get into this. I would unzip it all because it's a giant rectangle, and I would drape it over me like a big comforter, big duvet. Don't try and get in these things in the hammock. Getting inside sleeping bags in the hammock is not only a feat of endurance and difficult, it's unnecessary. Zip it open and then use it like a comforter. But that is like a comforter. It's called the Wooby. A lot of you will be familiar in the US what a Wooby is. That is a hell of a lot lighter than that. I don't need the under insulation. I probably would have that if I was on a budget. Get hold of them pretty cheap. Finally, what possibly I could use, just because I have one, is this here. It's a down top quilt. It was quite expensive, but it is light and compact. That is full of feathers. It's not very good. I tried it even in the heat wave and had a jacket on as well, and got me through the night, but I wouldn't say I was warm. It just worked to get me through the night. I like being comfortable. This squashes down to next to nothing and is probably less than 400 grams. It's worth the investment. But now we have to weigh up the price and the weight and how compact things are. Remember, this cocoon is about the weight and size of a decent sleeping bag, say a 3-season synthetic sleeping bag of just under 2 kilos. So if I was to marry it up with 6.8 here, 680 grams and a kilo there, I've got 1650 to add to 2 kilos. Don't think you can just buy the cocoon, take it out in winter, you'll freeze. Better option, that. It's the cheapest option, and it's a lighter option. And yes, like I said in the beginning, I'm going to swap that out for the Brecon BCB as soon as I can find one, a good one. That needs a bit of upgrade. We're going to have a look at this on a different video, and I'll tell you exactly what I think of that product. So they are your options. I am not going to use all of these. I would probably only use my lightweight summer top quilt and a pad. And again, I could swap that pad out for a little 3/4 length, and under my feet, where one of them little folding seat pads, you're going to need something like that. So it is going to be an amalgamation of just 2 of these things here. I'm not going to have all of this in my pack. I have plenty of room, even with all this in, and 60-litre pack for the hammock cocoon, and start putting the cocoon away with the hammock into a dry liner. And remember, I actually have more than that for demonstration purposes. Obviously I wouldn't carry 4 elements of further insulation. I'd only have 2 of them elements. I'm only demonstrating options for your price range. I don't know what your budget is, so I've shown everything really in all sorts of budgets. But that is how we are going to take it through seasons 2 and 3, spring and fall, and that is plenty. What about winterizing it? Well, winterization for me is going to come in the form of yet another cocoon, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I have done. I bought a second cocoon, and I'll show you how to fit them both together at the same time on a different video. So yes, I did buy 2 hammock cocoons. They're only 70 quid each, which I thought was a little bargain. So 2 70s, 140. So for 140 quid, I've got a winterized system for 4 kilos. Isn't that a bit heavy? I don't overload, other than my top and a stove head torch. That's me done. Obviously I have the weight of the water and the food as well, maybe a flashlight, things like that. So I don't overload. And if you're used to carrying a British Army modular sleep system, which is around 4 to 5 kilos, I think in the States your MWS is somewhere around 5 kilos, you'll be used to this. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to team up 2 of these on the same hammock, and now it's winterized. How do I know that works? I was out a few weeks ago and it was around 6 degrees, so it was above freezing, and boy, I was warm. Not only warm, I was almost cooking. My feet at one point felt like they were on fire. It was such a beautiful sensation of being warm all night and waking up warm in the morning and not having to worry about the damp that used to wet out my goose feather quilts. Once down gets wet, it no longer insulates. And in the UK, winter, very, very damp environment. I was waking up a little chilled, even with the best quality quilts. So that's where I knew I would need to make a change and go back to synthetics for the winter in a hammock. And then for 4 kilos, I think it's worth it because I don't overload. If you do overload, rethink your kit. And I have videos on how to organize your kit, and you can start becoming a minimalist. We're not talking about buying expensive, lightweight kit. We're only talking about limiting the individual components you're putting in your pack. Rethinking, that's all it is. And another film coming up is 2 of these in the winter with a pad in, dropped onto the ground inside a bivvy. Will that work? I already know the answer to that, but until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you out there. Happy trails.